Hey guys, welcome to Sippin' and Spillin' with Sid from Three Mississippi. We just got back from church. Bunko's underneath my skirt pulling on it as we speak. I was like, what is that? It's the cat pulling on my skirt. It's a beautiful day today, guys. It's cooled down, but it's in that stage of early fall where it's still nice and warm out and no real rain to speak of in the forecast. But we could use a little rain. But it's just beautiful out today. It's a beautiful Sunday. I know you guys are seeing this on Monday, but it's beautiful out, and I can hear somebody right now taking a few shots. In fact, that's what we're going to be doing later today. Mike and Frankie and our buddy Ryan and his son Braxton, they're going to be coming over after Sunday lunch to work on sighting in their deer rifles for the season. Because if you remember, Frankie had just gotten hers and has not fired a single round through it yet, has not been sighted in, nothing. So they're going to be working on that later this afternoon. And we're also it's going to be a good test to see too. You know, the goats are used to gunfire. The horse has not flinched at gunfire at all. There has been, in fact, the first day we went to see her, somebody very close by was taking a few shots and she, whatever. And then when we got here, it's dove season, so there was gunfire and she's just like, whatever, doesn't seem to bother her. However, our two livestock guardian dogs, Kusi and Nash, have not really been around it close up. And the distant gunfire doesn't seem to bother them, that I can tell. But it'll be a good test to see kind of how they do with it. So I'll definitely be out there with them, kind of keeping an eye on all the animals, make sure everybody's not freaking out. But I think everybody's gonna be fine. And they're gonna be down a little ways, so it won't be like, it's not like they're gonna be firing the rifles right next to the animal pens, but it'll, still on the property. It's gonna echo a lot more, when you're shooting down that hill than, when you're, a few tree banks away, I guess you could say. Um, so we'll see how they do. I think everybody's going to be fine with it, but it'll be a good test. I know my inside dogs will be a wreck. I have to close the bathroom doors because Lundy tries to get into the shower. In our old house, in fact, when there were fireworks, she had broken the shower twice. And since we've lived here, there's a bidet in the one bathroom, and she broke that line. And we came in from us shooting the first time after we had just moved here, and she had punctured the line and turned it on, so there was like boiling hot water uh, just spraying everywhere in the bathroom. And so that was fun to come in and clean up because it was just everywhere. And I had to like get behind the toilet to turn the water off because I was the first one to go inside and get that cleaned up. So that was good times. At least it was clean water. It was hot, very hot, but it was clean. So anyway, now when we know there's a storm coming in, or if we know that we're going to be shooting guns, we close all the bathroom doors so that they don't get crazy. But what's the matter, Bunk? He's over here doing his. I don't know if you guys can hear it because I am mic'd, but he's over here talking. What he do is what he do. Uh, Man, I had a lovely case of what I believe to be tonsillitis this last week. So, Wednesday, if you guys saw me on the live, I wasn't feeling great, but my throat got much worse that night and Thursday morning. And so I basically, I did a little bit of editing work and my normal chores and stuff. And then I basically took to the bed um, and just kind of took it easy, took my elderberry syrup, um, and had some of our homemade chicken broth and just kind of let my throat rest and everything because it was swollen. Like it was, uh, hey, bee, get out of my head. All these bees want to be in me. Um, but anyway, it was just not pleasant. It's much better today. Yesterday was much better. I did, it's still a little bit like like tender, I guess I would say, but it doesn't hurt anymore. I've definitely gotten the swelling and all of that down, and I this bee, holy moly, um, it's not a bumblebee either. It's something else. It's not a yellow jacket, but it's like a one of those annoying bees, not like a good bee. Not really liking my head today. It needs to not do that. I'm not a fan. I just want to sit in peace with my hummingbirds, but that little bee is being. Haha. Mm. Anyway, so that elderberry syrup, man, I've sworn by it the last few years since I can't say I discovered it, but I discovered it for me that it works. And then this is, you guys know this is my first year harvesting and making my own elderberry syrup, and I used some of uh, our buddy Bart, who came and removed the bees out of our water meter thing. I used some of his Chickasaw honey in my elderberry syrup, and I use that on just about everything. I've already pretty much gone through the supply that Tim from Ridge Life had given us, because we were eating that on my homemade bread, but which is good too. But that Chickasaw one is nice because it's from here, it's local, so all of the pollens and the things that to help with keeping your allergies and your sinuses happy. Local raw honey has always kind of been my go-to for that sort of stuff, because from the time Frankie was really little, she had a lot of sinus issues and allergies, that they couldn't quite pinpoint. So I just started giving her honey. This bee, let me tell you, you need to go bee over there. Anyway, so it's nice to have somebody who's super local like that, who's so good with bees and making the honey. And it's nice too, because while he does sell it at the farmer's market, while I could call him and get it, it's also stocked at our local grocery store. So it's nice if I'm like, oh, I'm out. Oh, I don't have to call Bart and track him down. I can just go to the grocery store and pick up a jar. So I think I still have two more big quart jars in there. That's one of those things that I always like to, as preppers, we like to always keep honey on the shelves because it doesn't go bad, and it does have so many good purposes and uses, that it's just one of those things that we always keep on hand, that's just good forever. So I still have a few jars of his that I bought, but I know I finished two of them already. We had four, so I think I've only got two left, and I've got one that's just got like this much left in it. So I need to go get some more probably at the store before too much longer. Um, but here we are getting into fall. Officially fall. Um, so it's nice. It's the weather's nice, and it's a beautiful time of year out here in the south. And there's the trees are just starting to turn. You always see the sweet gum trees start kind of turning first. So we've got this one sweet gum tree that sort of, I call it our little, our marker for the season change, because it's always the first one to start changing and the first one to start putting leaves back on. So it's starting to turn that real pretty, bright orange and pink, that they do, and I'm like, okay, it's happening, it's coming. But so many of our trees and things are so confused because we had that cold dip that lasted a couple days where we got down real quick to like 6 degrees. We had that light snow flurry that lasted all of about 5 minutes, but was still really cool. Uh, and so it really confused a lot of the fruit trees down here. Our pears, a lot of people we've talked to, their fruit trees are not putting anything out this season, or didn't, I should say, put anything out this season over the spring and summer uh, because of that cold snap that we had. It messed everything up. And then like my gardenias that are out front, I don't know if you can kind of see a little bit. There's a few blooms on them right there. These bloomed like within the last 2 weeks. And those of you that know anything about gardenias, they should have been blooming like all, spring and summer, but nothing. Like they were still fighting to get their leaves back after that cold snap. It's funny how just a couple of days of a real cold snap like that really uh, affected the whole season. When you think about it, life is resilient; it finds a way. But it kicked it back quite quite a notch there. If you think about it, it was into September, and before it started blooming. So while I was glad I didn't lose these bushes, I thought they were going to not make it at all, because they were just sort of sitting there like twigs for the longest time before a little bit of it started to kind of come back. But now it's going to start to get colder, not warmer, so and they're blooming. And same thing with my magnolia tree up front. It never really bloomed this spring. I think it had like one bloom that popped out, and then uh, it's got blooms on it again, or it's got the beginnings, I should say, of it's got buds on it. So it's all over the map. So it's going to be a little challenging. And then Mike's got some fruit trees that he got from his buddy Josh Ward that lives down here, who we actually met through YouTube. Then him and Mike had started talking, and he gave him some fruit trees. And then Mike had picked up our local hardware store here was doing like a blowout on some of their plants and fruit trees, and so he got a couple of fig trees for like a song, and he was happy about that. So he's going to be, before too much longer, he's going to be planting some of those fruit trees, and I believe he's planting them uh, up here in the lawn. So this is really a good spot for them for a couple of reasons, but it's kind of a good area too to sort of throw them out here. It's nice flat land. It gets a good amount of sun. It gets a good amount of just not inhibited rainfall. So when we do get the rain, it gets watered nicely. So it's just a good spot for it. He will have to fight the wildlife a little bit for some of those fruits probably at some point, but one step at a time, I suppose. While they're little, I suppose he could put a little cage or something around them to keep the critters from getting them. But he knows about all that stuff, and I'm sure he'll do what he's supposed to do. But yeah, guys, it's one of those lovely afternoons where we're not doing a whole lot. I'm still kind of recovering. We've got activities at the church tonight. So I'll be at the church for a few hours. Mike's actually working on what are they calling it? I think they're calling it praise band at church. And it's basically like the youth. There's some of the youth kids that play a few instruments, not the youth kids like Frankie's group, but the littler kids, the age group below her, that play a few instruments, and we're talking about maybe getting the band back together. Anyway, so Mike's kind of, I guess, was asked to sort of head that up a little bit. So he's in there. I can hear him right now, practicing some of the songs that he's going to, present to them as options, I guess, which is good. It's nice to see him get involved in that way, because usually it's, he's busy, he has work and all of that, but and all the things that we do around here. But it's nice to also try to be involved in the community when you can, and to do those sorts of things when you're able to. So I did sign him up for fifth quarter. For those of you that don't know what that is, during football season, different churches in the area host the fifth quarter of the game, which is sort of like the after party. And they need volunteers, of course, parents and things, to sort of chaperone and keep an eye on everything and make sure everything goes smoothly. So Mike and I and our buddy Ryan and my friend Beth will be chaperoning. She and I will be inside screaming at children, and they'll be outside monitoring the parking lot, making sure the right kids go to the right parents and all that good stuff, and making sure there's no shenanigans. We're very lucky out here. We have a really good group of kids. There's not a whole lot of shenanigans that go on beyond, harmless stuff, which, not that we're naive to the possibilities of things always, but I do have to say these are a really good group of kids with involved parents that keep an eye on everything. And between all of us kind of watching, it's hard for them to sneak stuff past us sometimes, I think. But especially nowadays with, I've talked to you guys about this before with, I can look on my phone and I can pinpoint exactly where Frankie is at like any given time. And most parents are like that now. We can just see where everybody is and know what's going on. And so it's just sort of harder for them to get away with lots of things. So, which I'm all for. The less trouble they can get into, the better. But But yeah, guys, that's going to be a late night for us on Friday night. Um, you know, we'll see. And I did, and in fact, I'll have to, maybe I'll show you guys an update on that tomorrow in Sippin' and Spillin'. I had ordered that pump for the goat trough, and Mike set that up for me. So um, so far so good. It's working. So I'll have to show you guys. I gotta, if they're due to have the tank, I gotta clean it out probably tomorrow morning when I'm doing morning chores. Scrub it out real good and whatever. But I have been making Frankie do Beulah's. I net it out every morning and add more water to it. But when it's time to clean it, she's got to empty it and scrub it and do all that. And she's been real good about doing all the stuff for Beulah that needs done. There have been a couple mornings where I've been the one to brush her and, um, kind of take care of her in that sense. But we're really focusing on having her eat the pasture, and have weaned her off of the sweet feed, kind of adjust her diet, which is also supposed to help with her hooves and get her muscle tone going better. So now that her hooves are getting into better shape, Frankie's working on some of the groundwork with her, building their relationship. Um, Once we get her hooves in a little bit better condition, it just kind of takes time because of the way her pad is. It's a little hard. So we're going to wait a little while before Frankie actually tries to ride her. But she's coming along. She's doing good. She seems happy and well adjusted, and she's loving life. I hope. She's out of shot right now. She was over here a little while ago, but anyway, guys, I hope you're having a wonderful start to your week. I hope that things are going smoothly and the grass is greener on your side of the yard, and it's gonna be a good week, man. It's gonna be a good week. So, as always, guys, stay blessed. Safety's off.